Okay, so tomorrow we have the Chapter 6 test. Okay, so again, tomorrow is the Chapter 6 test. It will cover lessons 6-1, 6-3, 6-4, and 6-5. Tomorrow we do have math first thing in the morning. So we've made the test nice and short. There's 10 questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have, since this is right after lunch and there's not a class in here, I'm going to have the test sitting on your desk. So what you're going to do is, as soon as you come in here, you can start your test. The class will probably only end up being 30 minutes long. So be ready to work as soon as you walk in the door. Make sure your pencil is sharpened before you come in here. Don't waste time, scrambling for a pencil. So come prepared tomorrow. If you get to a question and you don't know how to do it, don't just sit there and waste your 30 minutes on that one question. I'm not going to give it back to you to let you finish later on. You have to finish it within the class period. So if you get to a question that's too hard, keep moving. You don't want to get stuck and then have 8 problems left blank. Okay, the first 5 are going to be calculations. They're going to be proportions. Then the last 5, you're going to be giving me a similarity statement and telling me which shortcut you would use to prove them similar. So you're either going to tell me, is it AA, SSS, or side angle side? I'm just giving you a general overview right now of what it is. The last 5 questions, you're going to give me the similarity statement. Now, when I give you the similarity statement, I'm going to ask you to complete it. So let's say we had 2 triangles, and let's say the triangle was ABC, and then next to it was little XYZ. I'm going to start out by saying triangle ABC is similar to blank, and you're going to fill it in. The letters must match the corresponding angles. Yes? They will all be similar. Okay, on the questions that have numbers on the sides, you will also have to give me the scale factor. Okay, so some questions on the last 5, there'll be 3 parts. The similarity statement, the scale factor, and then the shortcut. I've written out the shortcuts, you just have to circle it. So you're not writing anything. So for example, I'm going to have angle, SAS, SSS. And it's going to say, circle the shortcut you would use. So you don't have to write anything out. So 3 parts to it. Not all of the last 5 have 3 parts. Some of them do not have side lengths. So that might be obvious that it's going to maybe be angle. Big hint here, yes?
It's going to say in directions that you need to put the scale factor in.
Yes, I've actually put blank lines. So for example, it's going to say, complete the similarity statement. So I'm going to have, for example, ABC is similar to blank. Then I'm going to have scale factor, blank. And then I'm going to say, circle the correct shortcut. Okay, so it's laid out nice and organized for you. The ones that don't have this scale factor and the blank line, no, you're only giving me 2 answers. The similarity statement and the shortcut.
Is it more than 10 questions, just 2 answers?
Right. So technically, I guess there's going to be 17 parts or 17 answers you're going to provide out of the whole test. Okay. So from section 1, this is where we learned how to prove polygons in general. Now, on the test, they're all triangles. I didn't throw in any quadrilaterals or pentagons. Every single figure you're going to look at is going to be a triangle. Now, here is where, in order to prove something similar, we had to show that every single angle was congruent and every single side was proportional. So this lesson was where we were introduced to it, and you can apply it to any polygon. So the concept is still the same. You could set up your proportions with corresponding sides to find missing side lengths. So, for example, example 2 here. You would have a question like this. This would be in the top 5 or the first 5, where I'm going to give you the similarity statement so you'll know how to match it for your proportion. So notice in my similarity statement here, I have AB is the first 2 letters, and it's going to match with the PQ here. So I know I can take my 14 and put it with the X in the fraction. And then I can see that the other side that has numbers, now if you don't want to deal with decimals here, I would have picked the BC and the QR. And then you could put 6 over 9 and then cross multiply and divide. Now, you could also, put 14 over 6, set up your proportion this way. 14 over 6 and then X over 9. You'll get the same answer. Now, if you want to reduce your fraction before you cross multiply and divide, you can. So for example, on this one, you could have done 14 over X equals 2/3. And then it's not such a big number to multiply since we're not using a calculator. You don't simplify diagonally, you simplify the fraction before you use it. Does that make sense? So you will have questions where you're going to ask to find either X or Y or whatever letters there. Some of the questions might say, instead of saying find X, it might say find the length of PQ. But the process is still the same. If you wanted to say, if the X wasn't here, you could say, okay, I'm going to make PQ X. So when I set it up in my proportion, I'm not writing PQ down here. Does that make sense? All right. So you will have proportions. The first 5 questions will be calculations. Again, no mixed number answers, no improper fractions. However, you may have a decimal like this as a side length. But again, it's manageable. They're not really huge numbers. So from page 2, example 1 and 2, or exercises, this is what I just did. So here are 2 problems where you can find the scale factor number 1 and then find the value of A. So this is exactly what you did on the first quiz. You have those to study from. You will have to find a scale factor and the similarity statement. Again, you will not have polygons, but the process is the same for finding the scale factor. You would match the corresponding sides. Down here in example 4, this would be using the scale factor. You will not have perimeter questions like you did on the quiz. All I'm going to ask you to find are missing side lengths. Any questions on 6.1? All right, and then again, there are the answers. In 6.3, this is where we learned the first shortcut. So what you need to do for this is you don't need to show every single angle congruent and every single side proportional. As soon as you can find 2 angles that are congruent, you can prove that the triangles are similar. Now, you may have pictures where they're going to be together, like in the part B here. In this one, we're referring to the little triangle, the PQN, comparing it to the LMN. So you may have triangles within each other, and know that you'll have to pull them apart to find it. You will also have pictures where they're totally separated, like in A. So on this one, you would have to look at it, and to prove it that was similar by angle, we needed to find 2 angles that were congruent. So just like you did on the quiz and how you had to find the similarities. Now on the quiz, we had some of the questions that were not similar. Every question where you're asked to write the similarity statement, they are similar triangles. The goal here is just to get the similarity statement in the right order. So here might be an example of that. Notice these all have letters. So for example, what I recommend you do is label your pictures. And then the ones with the same congruency marks, that's how you can tell the order to put it in. So for example, on number 1, you can see that angle D and angle F, these are both right angles. They have the same kind of mark. We can already tell that D and F are going to be in the same spot. So if I wanted to start my congruency statement, I could start putting with the letter D here, and over here I know I'm going to put the F. Now, the next thing I can look for is the vertical angle. So this angle E is the same on both. So I could put that as my second letter. And then the last one that didn't have a mark, so these are similar by the angle-angle similarity postulate. And then I can also see that C is congruent to G. So then I could put C here and G here. So the order of the letters matters. Again, I'm going to start out the first triangle. So your job will just be to match the letters. Good so far? So just like on the quiz, same angle. We already quizzed on this. Every single triangle in questions 5 through 10 will be similar. You will be able to come up with a similarity statement. Okay? You will not have word problems. So due to the shortness of the class time, the quiz is just going to be really the test will be really basic. And that was angle, which was 6-3. Any questions on 6-3? Okay, so the new material, the 6-4, these are two more shortcuts. This is the side, and the side angle side. In order to use the side similarity theorem, all three sides must be proportional. To use the side angle side, you need two sides that are proportional and the included angle. So for this one, let's see, we have in the example, they're asking us which one is similar to the ABC. So this is this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match my numbers. Now, I don't have a statement or anything, so I'm going to match the order of the size of the numbers. So notice AB is the smallest, this side here is the smallest side. So 3, so when I go to my RST here, I'm going to try to match it with the 3. And that's going to be 1. Then if I go to the next largest number, 4, notice the both next two are 4s, and this is bigger. So right away, I can see that that one's out. Now, you're not going to have to find the one that's similar. I'm already going to give them to you. They're similar. You're going to have to just write the similarity, find the matches, and then find the scale factor. So let's go ahead and finish this up and write our similarity statement and write our scale factor here. Okay, so again, let me go back here. I'm going to erase these, and I'm going to do a different color for each one of the sides. So this is 3, and it's going to match with the smallest number here, which is 6. So 3 to 6, and it's 1 to 2. Then I'm going to go to the next largest number, which will be 4, and it's going to match with the next largest, which is 8. And again, I'm still at 1 to 2, so I'm looking good. I still have to check that third side. That third side could mess me up. However, again, remember, they're going to all be similar. So 5 and 10, and again, simplifies 1 to 2. So if you are writing it as A, B, C is similar, we're going to say that the scale factor is 1 to 2, because that's how we wrote it in the fraction. Now, I need to figure out what's going to match. So I can sort of see. So see how angle C is made by the red and the green? So I know that's going to match with the Z. So that will be the last letter. And then the B is made from red and blue. So that's going to match with Y. And then the A is the one that's left, and it's going to match with X. So if this were the question on the test, you would tell me, it is similar. This is my similarity statement. My scale factor is 1/2 or 1 to 2 or 1:2. I don't care if you write it like this, or as a fraction, either way. And then you could say that they're similar by side, because all three sides are proportional. So this is what you're going to have to do on the last 5 questions. Good so far? Now, if it were side angle side, and let's see if we have an example of that. So that was side, so the first page is side, side, side. Then the second page, starting at example 3, is the side angle side similarity postulate. So for this one, and again, because of the time constraints, you're not going to have stuff like this where it's an x plus 1. It's just going to be an x or a y. And then you'll set up your proportions. So no expressions as side lengths with variables. So again, for the side angle side, you need to show that the two sides are proportional and that then the angle that's there, the included, is congruent. So here it's asking you to find the value of x. They already had told you it was similar, but for you guys, you're going to have to show the proportions. Does that make sense? Let me see if there's one that's not as complicated. I could go ahead and do it with the expressions. All right, so here what you would do, I need to have one with numbers. Let me show you one from the homework to demonstrate the side angle side, because all of these are asking you to find the value of x. Again, when I'm asking you to find the value of x and y, it's not going to have 3x plus 5. It might just have an x here. So I'll show you an example from the homework how to do this. Nope. Then the last lesson was the parallel lines and how it made, if they were parallel to the outside of the triangle, you could set up proportions to find missing pieces. Now, on the test tomorrow, notice on this one, we're looking for the length of AE, which is this little piece. I may ask you to find the length of AD. So once you find AE and find out that it's 6, if I ask you to find AD, know that you got to go back and add 6 plus 9 and get 15. So make sure when you're answering 1 through 5, you're reading what I want solved for. Some of them say find X. Some of them say find the segment length, like find the length of AE or AD. So make sure you read carefully. So for this one, when you go to set up your proportion, again, remember when we went through the slides, there's more than one way to set up your proportions. So for example, this is my X because I'm looking for AE. So I can either choose to set it up as I can match X and 8 and then 9 and 12. Or I can do it the way that they did it. They did X over 9 and then 8 over 12. Again, remember, before I cross multiply and divide, I could simplify all these fractions so I'm not getting big numbers. So for example, on this one up top, 8 over 12, I can divide them both by 4 and get 2/3. The 9/12, I can divide both of those by 3 and get 3/4. So again, you'll still get the same answer. Is that making sense? Here we would get 3x equals 18, divide by 3, we get x to be 6. Here, if we do it as 4x equals 24, and we still get x equals 6. So you may set it up differently, but still get the same answer when you cross multiply and divide. You will have, from the last theorem, theorem 6. Actually, I don't think there may be questions like this, but it's the same setup as if it were a triangle. You will have applications of theorem 7. This one, remember you're going to come around and the side of the triangle is going to come and take with the segment that was created by the ray and set up your proportion that way. So in this case, we could think of x as 33, or this piece here as 33 minus x. So we can set up our proportion. So for example, you could do 45 over x, and then you can set it up as 54 over 33 minus x. They set theirs up a little bit differently. They did the two sides up here in the same fraction, and then the segment over here that it divided. Again, it doesn't matter as long as you stay consistent. There's more than one way to set these up. So let me go ahead. So again, just before I go out of this, so on the test tomorrow, 1 through 5, these are going to be solving proportions. Okay, you're going to be looking for an unknown. Okay, it might say find X, find Y. It might say find the length of AC or XY. So 1 through 5 proportions. Again, no decimal answers, no mixed number answers. Then for 6 through 10, this is where you're going to write the similarity statement. And you will also tell me the shortcut. So which theorem or postulate you would use. Either AA, SSS, or side angle side. All of the questions have both of these options, and then a few of them also ask for the scale factor. And again, it's clearly marked which ones want the scale factor. So 10 questions, no calculator. As soon as you arrive tomorrow, you may begin your test. So be ready to work, have your pencils sharpened, and ready to go. All right, now what I'll do is I'll go back to maybe the practice A. All of the practice A's are also on Canvas in the module, so if you need additional practice of setting up the proportions, the answers are on the last page. So I'll go back through and I'm going to look for an example of side angle side, but basically this is what is on your test tomorrow. I will not be here in the morning tomorrow. I do have a meeting in guidance. So if you need help, I will be here after school today. I also have a meeting right at 2:30, but I'll be back in here probably by 2:45.